You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Good day and welcome to the Mushie Moment, Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Man, that's a lot of twos. I'm loving it.
22nd, 2025, yeah. May 222025.
Just flowed.
May, not even May, it's April. Oh my God, I'm jumping a month ahead.
Oh, don't do that. They're already going way too fast.
Yeah.
Although we're in the good period where it's sunny, there's some warmth. I can walk barefoot on the beach. Water's still a little cold, but the feet can still go in there. It can be
people out in British Columbia, I tell you, showing off.
Well, you know, I wouldn't want to brag or anything. I'm sharing. I'm not bragging. I'm sharing it with you.
I was out there not so long ago sending people in Nova Scotia pictures of my feet in the sand, and they were sending me pictures of 2 inches of snow on the ground. Yeah,
I think I should have had bare feet in that snow showing it to you.
Yeah, well, Chris and Nada tried, but just didn't work.
Well, the other day I was at the beach making sand angels.
So what's new, Steve?
Let's see. Other than the shift in this weather that's actually giving us some vitamin D and some happy therapy from that gloom and gray and the rain and the I don't know. Been spending a lot of time with my dog. Mainly because she keeps yelling at me to take her out for walks. It's like, man, I thought I was supposed to be training her, but she's got me pretty trained.
Yeah. He's training you.
Oh, plane.
Yes.
You might hear a few planes. They're repairing one of the runways at the airport, and apparently the planes are fairly loud.
More than usual. So here in Nova Scotia, I have been, I've been involved with psychedelics now for healing since, well, for quite a number of years. Got heavily into it in 2021 when I went and jumped with Iboga, and been going pretty steady since. And, I've been looking for a community here in Nova Scotia because Nova Scotia is very quiet about it. There aren't a lot of people around. We don't have a lot of people in the province anyway. And a number of years ago, I found the Nova Scotia Psychedelic Society via watching the movie Dosed. And then I never really went back. And then here last year, at the end of last year, I think it was December, was my first meeting. I went November or December. I saw that they were doing a sharing circle. I had no idea what to expect, but decided, you know what, if I'm going to work in this field and I'm going to work here in Nova Scotia, I really have to, go in and meet these people and convene with them. This is my community. This is where I'm going to meet other integration specialists, other facilitators here in the area. So I decided to go, unsure of what to expect. And I walked in, and one of the co-founders, our guest today, was telling a beautiful story about one of his, I believe it was an ayahuasca ceremony that he was in. And he was very open and very honest with his story. And I walked in, and hearing his story brought me comfort because I haven't had that kind of conversation with anybody at that point in time here in Nova Scotia yet. I haven't been able to sit down and go, oh, you did what? Oh, you did what? What was your experience like? Oh, that's so cool. I've done that plenty out in BC. That's kind of how you and I met. Like, come down to the Amsterdam and meet me. And we sat there and we had that conversation. It was blissful. And, I'm finding that community here in Nova Scotia today. So today our guest is the gentleman that was telling that story. We had one of the co-founders of the NSPS on here, about a month-ish ago. And, we've invited the other co-founder on to tell his story, or stories, whatever he wants to share with us. One of that I've already gotten when I was at that meeting. And it made me feel very comfortable with this group of people. So,
ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast, TR Appleby.
There we go. Hey.
Hello. What an amazing introduction. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I could have told the dose story again, but that's really how I met you, and that's really how I found iboga was through you guys. And so yeah, to walk in and hear your story of Io was really cool that one particular night.
That's that's amazing. I when you said that you went to Dosed and then you didn't really check back in for a while, my first thought was, there really wasn't anything to check in. We were scrambling to address COVID and like, how do we have this organization survive while all of this was going on? And then the other thing is so this organization existed informally from say 2016, 2017 until 2020. And in 2020, we had finally grown enough that we had enough people for a board. And when we were making that board, we very intentionally had medical professionals on that board. So when COVID hit, literally some of them were out in New Brunswick at a testing facility or dealing with other crises. So It's taken us some time to really get back on our feet, right? And that's right around when you came in. So I feel like we're on a new chapter of the Psychedelic Society, and I'm so excited at the people who are coming through our doors, right?
Yeah, it's been exciting to be back and to be involved. I must, to be honest, before I get into my first question here, I have to say, when I walked into that meeting and it was the very large circle and we were storytelling, I felt at home and it was really beautiful. And I have to say that that's probably been my favorite meeting so far. It was just beautiful to have that community and that camaraderie and hear all of those stories from everybody.
It was really magical. At some point when I realized that like I didn't need to talk as much anymore, people were doing it themselves. And I counted, there was well over 40 people there, which means one person was talking while 40 plus were listening. You could hear a pin drop, the silence. So many people were seen and had that attention. So, thank you for coming and being a part of it. And it's been such a long
growing it. Like it's just.
I need to hear these stories to remind me of why we're all doing it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, there were some beautiful stories told that night, and it got me very excited for being part of it. But one of the things that when we had Justin on, he talked about when you guys first started this community and what brought him and his thought process into starting this society. And I'd kind of like to hear that story from your side, the other co-founder.
Well, I mean, I was in a quite low place in my life. It was my early 20s. I was in the middle of a pretty serious mental health crisis. I had just moved to Nova Scotia, basically separating myself from my family for a little while to really try to find my own grounding. Like I truly, I mean, it's hard going back to that point, but I was in a real crisis, and I ended up coming out here with Justin because I honestly didn't have any other options in my mind. And so after a couple of years, Justin we keep talking about how so much of our problems came from this isolation and came from the fact that we really didn't have resources to check in with what we were going on. Everyone around us were saying it's the mushrooms, it's the pot that's causing all of your problems. when for us, that was the thing that was finding us sanity. And we didn't have the community to teach about integration. I truly found out what that meant in like 2018, 2019, doing trip sitting at festivals. So come 2016, I have a pretty serious drinking problem, and Justin comes back from a psychedelic conference in New York City and says, I heard about these psychedelic societies. Let's start one. And I go, of course, let's do it. I was really, frankly, desperate for community and really looking for a focus. And I truly have found so much community and healing in the process of building this.
Yeah. Well, you and Justin together, especially, lately, like this, comeback, for lack of a better word, in my brain. You've stood up and, on your own soapbox, and you've kind of shown a beacon of light and said, over here, psychonauts over here, community over here. And you've got wonderful people like, I've chatted with, there's one of your board members who I keep telling her and I are going to be best friends. She doesn't know it yet, but she is an IFS therapist, and I am a facilitator, and I'm specifically with 5-MeO, and she's the right kind of integrate. We're going to be best friends, girl. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that community and the people from all walks of life. The last meeting that you had, so not the movie, but the meeting before, I sat down in one of the circles, and it was a storytelling circle. I love the storytelling circles. And there was one lady there, and if I had met her on the street, I never would have thought that she ever did anything. And, so when she starts telling her stories, and I'm sitting there just going, oh, I love you. It's beautiful. And then we had a couple of girls that went off to a retreat, and they told their stories, and you helped facilitate. You and Justin have brought this together, and you've put up the light, and you've enabled us to do that. And I think that's pretty beautiful.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I do. And like I was saying earlier, these stories are so precious to me, hearing the effect on other people, because sometimes I'm so focused on trying to keep it all together. I mean, I've been a volunteer for this for so long that it's just easy on, okay, how do we get the ball moving forward? How do we get to the next step? And not really appreciate what we've done so far. I mean, it's small, but I'm hearing the ripples, right? I'm hearing people who come to the province for the first time and go, just Google Nova Scotia and psychedelics, and we come up.
Yep.
And know that they're not alone. And that does me so much good, because when I came to the province, I wasn't alone. I had Justin, so I had one person. So it would have meant so much to me to be able to go into a group of people. Honestly, thinking about that, like me back then, is making me kind of like cry a little, like tear up. The idea of being able to walk into a room of 40 people and say, this is what's been going on with me. Because I truly, if I hadn't just randomly heard the name Terrence McKenna on a podcast, I would have thought I was losing my effing mind in 2013, right? Like hearing him describe its effect on our cognition, and especially when he would talk about psilocybin's relationship to language, and language being perhaps the fundamentals of reality, if we expand the meaning of language, I found sanity in that. I found grounding in that, because that made more sense than the nonsense other organizations were shoveling at me. And meanwhile, Terrence McKenna, there's a lot of nonsense, right? The time wave thing. Sorry, Terrence, but so much of it had so much truth in it. And then from there you find Alan Watts, and then you find Ram Dass was a huge one for me. So yeah, and then you realize you're not the first one to have these experiences, right? Like it's like, oh, I'm not the only one who had a major identity crisis and then decided to change their name and move across the country. It's like, I thought I was the crazy one. No, actually, it's pretty standard for people in this realm.
Yes, very, very. Something that you said brought up something that happened at, again, not the movie, but the meeting before that. You said, you wanted to create something so people coming into Nova Scotia can come and feel community. And the last sit-down meeting that we had in the circles I sat in, there were like at least 2 women that had just recently moved to Nova Scotia looking for community and found that meeting. And they came in very timid and very nervous and left with a sense of community. And it was a really beautiful thing to watch. And I thought you might like to hear that.
That's pretty awesome, man. You created what you needed, and look what it's grown to.
Yeah. As you were talking, I'm like, I'm glad this podcast exists, because I'm going to listen to it in a month from now when I'm depressed and thinking I haven't made an impact, just so I can like take this in.
Oh, if you ever think that you haven't made an impact, you give me a call. I will tell you how I found the movie Dosed and what has happened to me since. And I'll tell you that story 100 times over if you ever need to hear it. It's a great story. And honestly, TR, I would not be alive today if I hadn't have found that movie. So just so you know that's a pretty big one.
Well, thank you. I'm going to take that one in. I wouldn't be alive without mushrooms and cannabis.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so much love to like MDMA has been starting to give me a quality of life, and ayahuasca was very helpful, and all these other plants and so on. But truly, when I was at my most chaotic, weed was the net that caught me, kept me from falling, right? And mushrooms helped me recontextualize my entire existence. And I haven't even had that. I've heard you talk about the circles, this full release, this ego dissolvement, and the classic psychedelic experience, uniting with the whole of the universe. I've never had that.
Well, just so you know, you see this little degree up here? I can help you with that. Just saying, I can help you with that.
I think I'm at the point where I might need that. So, fair. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah, you know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's I'm really glad that you've come on this post. I'm extremely honored and blessed that you are showing us some of your vulnerability here, and that you have vulnerably shared some of your story. That's the kind of beacon of light that we need. Are people being honest about their stories and saying them and saying, look at what I've created and succeeded in doing as I have gotten sober and started to heal. So it's a really amazing thing to hear your story. And I'm very blessed that you decided to be that vulnerable with us. Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate it. There is something to be said about being pushed to the very limits of human existence. Like, I don't want to be that dramatic, but like with major depression for well over a decade, the drinking problem that followed it. You get a lot stripped away from you. And I feel like I just kind of chose to just keep going with the vulnerability. It's like, I almost wasn't here, so why not tell this story?
It's authenticity. You have to release all of the pain that you've absorbed to make room for love once you've discovered authenticity and reality.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll just encourage the people in your audience struggling with mental health or whatever to really trust that their experiences can give them a unique perspective, and their vulnerability can be really helpful. I mean, there's a difference between trauma dumping and vulnerability, but your vulnerability is really needed. And I'm saying that to myself. I'm looking at my webcam right here. TR, vulnerability is needed.
Yeah. So it's like I said, I'm honored to have you be that vulnerable and share here on our podcast. How you doing over there, Steve?
Now I want to know what got you here. Why? What was it that took you down that you needed to come up?
I mean, just an increasing amount of what I later found out to be undiagnosed CPTSD. Right. I'll say that there are some various sort of mental health issues in my family, as with everyone, and particularly an unhealthy relationship with alcohol. just because this is being recorded, I wanted to say, with my mom and my dad, I owe so much to. Anything that we've been through, we've all worked through, and so none of this is referring to them. They have been so great to me. So I just, with all that being said, my parents are great. That being said, I did have a lot to discover about myself. I found out when I was 26 that I was genderqueer. It's really hard to have to come out of the closet to yourself. So be like, oh, okay, I didn't know this about myself because I didn't even know it was possible. And frankly, I really benefit. The first mushroom trip I ever did with Justin, it's 4.5 grams over a few hours. And it's not like I had this aha moment. You are this. It was more mushrooms made space. Like, I don't know how else to describe that, but there was more space in my mind. What I now realize, neuroplasticity, more of an ability to think differently, to realize that and then I am coming to realize in the last couple of years that I have high masking, low support autism. So the last few mushroom trips I've had have been very much like just replaying like thoughts I've had in my life and cognition styles, and the mushrooms essentially going, dude. The mushrooms still speak to me like I was the age when I first took them. They speak to me like I'm some suburban stoner. It's a lot of like, brah, right? I don't even like talk like that, but yeah. So just realizing that as much as I'm healing and pulling back these layers, that I'm still kind of twisted up at like a pretzel, and that pretzel very much looks like autism.
As you processed each layer and came to the realization, were you able to look through your life and find those moments of weirdness that you'd noted in memory that didn't make sense, and now all of a sudden, oh, this batch makes sense? And then when you come to the other one, oh, now that batch makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, Steve. And as much as then I wanted it all to just go away, I wanted to have that experience that we've heard from all sorts of different people. Oh, I had one ayahuasca experience and everything was better. And like, that's how the energy I went into ayahuasca with is fix me. She didn't love that vibe. But what I'll say to people is honor that it came on in layers. It's got to come off in layers. And if it all strips away, you're just going to be so confused, right? Like if psychedelics are boundary dissolving, right? They dissolve your understanding, like the boundaries between you and concepts. So respect that it'll take time for it to come off. But to what you said, when I realized that I was, for lack of a better term, genderqueer, I literally quit drinking 2 months later. Like, I scheduled me quitting drinking. I just looked at my calendar and like, oh, I can't with this next 2 months, but here. So August 18th, 2017, I scheduled that and I just walked away from it. So just realizing, okay, maybe this is why I'm always so anxious and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it just gave me that one last push to walk away from it. But in part, that's because I spent years building up the supports. I built up these communities that I can do medicines with. I learned yoga, I learned meditation, and then all of a sudden this layer comes off and you go, oh, I can walk away from this now.
Wow.
And I just will say with that was during my period where I took a 7-year break from psychedelics. From ayahuasca to 2022, I only cannabis. So that wasn't even a psychedelic inspired aha. It's just like once you take the medicine and you let it in, it'll keep working with you. Oh, yeah. It's always with you.
Integration. Where are you going to dance with it?
So you created this society when you weren't doing psychedelics.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, like that caught my attention. So you did psychedelics for a while. You did a bunch of healing. You had some revelations that you shared. It's really beautiful. It's really awesome. You got to hug yourself and say, "Oh, I accept you, buddy. I love you." It's really, thank you for sharing. It's really fucking awesome. We love you too, by the way, just so you know. But then you took a break. And then Justin comes back from New York and you say, well, okay, I won't do them, but I'm going to start this society. And I think that's incredible.
The break was out of a real respect for the medicine.
Yeah.
Right. Mushrooms, by the end of when I was taking them, the last mushroom trip I took before ayahuasca in 2015, the mushrooms just basically, they didn't come, right? Like I didn't feel them for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, where are you? Like, why aren't we doing the thing? And like, what? So you can freak out as soon as we start doing the work. And then you're going to spend the rest of the trip trying to dissociate and not connecting. You're going to fight it the whole time. You're going to take your anxiety meds so that the effects will wear off. So it's like, dude, if you're not going to do like the mushrooms just, so I was like,
they kicked your ass.
They kicked my ass. And then I went down to Peru, outside of Quitos, in a boat down the Amazon River, the whole shebang, drank ayahuasca 4 times, and she put me to sleep every single time. You're not supposed to sleep on a tryptamine. I slept throughout I puked, slept from like 2 hours on, right? And what I took from that, I mean, this was a while ago, was, okay, I'm misusing this medicine. I don't believe a lot of these psychedelics are addictive, but you can habitually use them for escapism, right? And that's what I was doing. And I needed to just get my shit together. And in that period of time, I started the Psychedelic Society. I quit drinking. And I really started changing my life around. And it's kind of funny. Around 2022, I had a couple of friends more or less give me a reverse intervention. They were like, look, you quit drinking. Great. We're not asking you to quit drinking again, but could you do some mushrooms with us? Like, you worked on yourself. Like, they had to convince me to come out of this sort of break from it. They're like, you know what integration is now. You sat for so many people, that the Tea Hive, through the festival scene and all these other reasons. And like, please do medicine with us. Yeah. And the first medicine after that, somebody handed me some MDMA at a festival. Because of my position, how public I am, I'm not comfortable having anything on me. So somebody I trusted gave it to me and changed my life.
Yeah, MDMA is an amazing medicine. But before we talk about MDMA, Steve,
it's time to take a break and get some messages from our sponsors. And if you have to, run and go pee. And we'll be right back.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor. If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
And we're back. The ad disappeared, so I didn't know when it ended. It was a really weird little glitch. I waited till your face went, hey, it's time for you to... So we're back.
It's been a technical glitchy day. Yes.
Oh.
So we have been here. We have been chatting with TR Appleby, who is the co-founder of the Nova Scotia Psychedelic Society. And TR has been amazingly open with us, and it's been a wonderful conversation so far. I was just thinking when I ran out to refill my water bottle that, like, I've really been enjoying this conversation so far. So far one of my favorite podcasts. I've been enjoying this.
I've been enjoying it too. I've got a pretty rough cold, like a sinus infection, and I've completely forgot about it this whole time. I'm just this is nice. It feels warm. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So if we go back to talking about the Nova Scotia Psychedelic Society, actually, where were we before? I said let's wait and talk about MDMA until after. So let's talk about MDMA first. I assume that when this friend of yours gave you, this trusted source said, here, have some MDMA, you went, cool. Well, I don't want to hold it on my person, so I'm going to take it.
Yep.
Is that what happened?
I was in possession of it for about 2 seconds.
So that was your first MDMA experience?
Yeah. It was 2022, right? Coming out of COVID, that was really, really hard. I'm also, my grandmother's Ukrainian, so that's when that all started. It was really challenging, and a bunch of other really hard life stuff going on at that time. So I feel bad that it almost took all those rough things to get me to open myself to this medicine. But yeah, I took it at a festival. I'm not much of a dancer. I'm not much of a social person. The autism is showing itself. But I was like, okay, I'm going to take this drug. I've heard a lot about it. It's going to make me want to dance. It's going to make me want to connect with people. And it's going to help me take the stick out of my ass, which is what everyone's been saying for the last 30 years. And then I take it. And then I just I'm realizing I'm around a bunch of people who are drinking, and I don't like people drinking. There's a ton of loud noises that isn't my kind of music, and I just felt really uncomfortable. And then about a thought popped in my head. It's like, well, I can go back to my tent. I've got Star Trek on my iPod, and I've got lentil soup. And I'm like, oh, Star Trek and lentil soup. That sounds really great. So I start walking the 20, 30 minutes back to my tent. And by the time I get there, I just keep on walking. And I checked my pedometer, about 12 and a half kilometers that night, just through the parking lot, in the dark, just sitting with myself.
Oh, you went quiet. We totally lost your voice.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there, you're back now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The point is the idea of me being alone in the dark would terrify me, but for some reason the MDMA was making me comfortable with myself, And I had the negative thoughts still running through, but they were almost at a distance, so I could choose new thoughts, right? I was still sitting with my bullshit, but I could choose new directions. I also had it was a lot of compassion for myself. It wasn't turning me into somebody else. It was me loving who I am and not having the tolerance for the bullshit that I would put up with to just be a part of other situations. So it was beautiful for me, and just felt out of many.
Oh, you're breaking up again. That's really weird.
Oh, and right in like.
Yeah,
right
really great story. And yeah,
can you hear me? Am I out?
There we go.
Now, yeah.
Okay. The point I'm just getting to is being in a group of people on MDMA, like telling you we like you, you belong here, we appreciate your differences, has been some of the most intense medicine I've ever had, right? And it's not the MDMA is making it happen, it's just letting me hear it, right? And yeah, powerful medicine.
Wow. So you had instead of a bicycle day, you had a walking day, and instead of LSD, you had MDMA.
Mm-hmm.
That's very cool.
Oh, I've had my walking days with LSD too.
Yeah, well, this like that story of when you first came back to it, and and you took this beautiful medicine, and you're just like, that noise and that alcohol, and I just got to go, and then you just went, and I beautiful. Yeah.
What's your most amazing journey you've had?
Oh, I'm so blessed at this point to have a ton of amazing journeys. But if just to pick one, I'll say my first mushroom trip, right? I was a complete and utter atheist, right? So burnt by religion and so filled with 18-year-old male self-righteousness. And after listening to Dark Side of the Moon, which for me, if I were to chase back my psychedelic history, it's Pink Floyd and Alan Parsons Project. Because I realized, this is psychedelic music. I was like 10. And I'm like, when I'm at 16, I'm going to try whatever they were doing to make this music. So yeah, then so I take mushrooms with a group of my friends. We listen to Dark Side of the Moon all the way through. And I'm just staring up at this recessed light. And I feel this transcendence. And the words fell out of my mouth. If I wasn't such an atheist, I'd say I'm having a religious experience right now. And it was magical. I wasn't done with atheism then. I think that was my trip with Justin 3 years later. But yeah, man, we jumped into paintings. It's never happened to me since. I'd walk by a painting and I could jump in the painting and run around the painting and then jump back in my body. Yeah, that was a really amazing trip. Just opening myself up to what this whole world could be. And then the trip with Justin, where I'm sure he told you about the story about the broccoli.
I think so, yes.
Right? So while he's spooning a broccoli, rethinking his relationship with food and whole life, I'm just standing there with Pink Floyd on, of course, and I felt this moment of just being okay. Right? I try to say this to people who don't do psychedelics, who think you're just getting high. It's like, no. On mushrooms, I didn't feel amazing. I just also didn't feel crushing depression. And in that moment, I felt like I could breathe. And I felt like, if life is just okay, I can live with this. And so what I love about psychedelics is they can give you those brief moments of, you can think differently. You can experience life differently. And it's not like alcohol just dumbing you down to the point where you don't feel, like shutting off parts of your brain as you drink. It's opening yourself up to all the parts of you, including the parts you don't want to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Integration. It helps to integrate all of your parts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yep. Yeah, it and that's where an IFS integration therapist comes in so handy. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 100%. My experience with 5-MeO was through an IFS context, And because of that, my experience was so powerful. And in fact, that was one of the moments to really accept sort of my neurodiversity, where I had gone through the first few waves of the 5-MeO of like letting all my channels clear and feeling all this pain and sort of dealing with a bunch of different protectors. And then I get to this one part that I've been calling the worrier, right? It's this part of me that's all hunched up, and he looks like this crazed man on the street, just like hollering and just as I was just like, oh, okay, let's get rid of this person. But then I remember IFS, accept all parts are trying to help. And because of the 5-MeO, I was so expanded that I just went close towards this part and I embraced them. And I realized, oh, this isn't like a crazy person, for lack of a better term, trying to destroy me. This is what happens when you tell yourself, I'm not neurodiverse, that it's inappropriate for me to say it's too loud, that I have no idea what's going on right now. I'm smiling and nodding, that I'm not making eye contact. I'm looking at your forehead, right? Like all these different parts of me, like once I started stimming, like hand flapping, so many mental health issues disappeared, right? So I found this part of me, I embraced it, and I was like, oh, dude, this is somebody with Asperger's. Like, you could be an effing executive. You could be my executive assistant if I listened to you. So that part of me and I made a deal. If you stop screaming in my ear, I'll listen to you.
You're really
I hear you, brother.
Connecting with Steve right now, and you don't even know how much you guys are becoming best friends.
Yeah, I hear you, brother.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for articulating that.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I feel like if I've got a gift, it's articulating some of this nonsense. Or not nonsense, but the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff that doesn't make sense to people until they hear the right words.
Yeah, and I'm trying to embrace my role in that, right? Like, how do I make myself the best version of person that I find myself in, rather than why don't I have a 9 to 5?
Yep.
Right.
9 to 5 is a program. You must work Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I mean, like Dolly Parton even sang a song about it. And it's just, you know, through good friends that I have that are a little bit time fluid, I'm learning that doesn't need to be the way.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you can, if you work better at night, go to work, you know, make your products at night. And you know, like I'm in a industry now that is so far from 9 to 5. It's, you know, it's unbelievable. Now, like the Cindy before psychedelics, and that was a bookkeeper, tax accountant, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. Like that's who I was. But not anymore, thank God.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad you're the version of you that you're here today. I'm getting so much from this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Steve, I can tell that your brain is going somewhere, and I'm curious.
Oh, I'm part of the oddity is he ran a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm just placing all the places where we have the parallels through it.
Yeah.
It's okay. I was just kind of going there. But
I know what you mean. Sometimes when you just need to, like, all right, I gotta like think about this for a couple of weeks. That's what one of the reasons I took the break from psychedelics. I just took so many. I just needed to. All right, I need to think about this for a while.
Well, that's part of integration, right? Is how much time do you need to integrate what was already told to you? You've got to get it with your brain. You've got to get it within your system, your daily routines. Like integration is not just grabbing the info and leave. I've had a head full of data for years, but it wasn't until I started acting on the data and living in harmony with the data that anything made a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that, when you start to learn that, oh, they're not called ticks, they're called stims in that world. Oh, okay, so I don't have a lot of ticks, I have a lot of stims. Okay, well, where do the stims? Oh, they come from, oh, okay. And then it's just like, oh, well, all of these moments in my history now make sense. That's why I could see something in one way and they couldn't see my vision or where it was from. And it's like, oh, okay, we've walked off of the neurotypical path a few steps and we're looking from somewhere else, and some people can't see from that point of view, and sometimes we can't see from that other point of view, but it doesn't mean that neither point of view is valid. It's just finding the place of compassion and understanding to make the synergy happen. It's all one reality.
Yeah, all our perspectives are needed. And I'm starting to find, especially in the psychedelic community where people are interested in perspectives and healing, like our perspective is valued, right? Like when we start owning the way that we see the world, like neurotypicals can really benefit, and like other neurodiversities can really benefit from, like, oh, you experienced this way and you created this adaptation, so I can do this version, or give me permission to be this version of myself. One of the things that I love about 5-MeO is how somatic it is, right? Like dropping in from that data, which is wonderful to assess, but then dropping into the body, like I didn't realize what that even meant. I had lived such a life in the head. So you can't do it until you've experienced it. So it's these moments of what is it like being in my body? And then the data, as great as it is to gather, you don't necessarily need it in that moment because you're just feeling intuitively. That whole me hugging the neurodiverse part of myself I ignored, that wasn't conscious. I mean, that was just a flow. That was something that was happened. I had taken so much 5-MeO. If there was choice in that, it was just to let it happen. Right? So
that's surrender.
Yeah,
So
get out of your own way.
Yeah, one of the first things before I sat with 5 for the first time, I was told, like, just like we did the practice of surrender, and we talked about surrender, like going into it, and they said, and listen to yourself, because in those moments that you are in 5, you are going to be incredibly honest with yourself to a point that it's. Many people, that's one of the things that scares people about 5-MeO or other psychedelics, but 5-MeO really friggin', like, I mean, when you do an ego dissolution, it takes you there, whether you want to go or not. And, it can be scary for some people because now we have to go face the truth, and we have no choice but to face the truth. And, it's hard, but then you're also talking truthful with yourself. I was very lucky, and the people I sat with the first time, my first facilitators, let me record the entire session. So I've got it all recorded. So whenever I think that I don't love myself, I can go get my little, tablet, which is where it's recorded on, and I can hit play, and I can hear how 5 took me from somebody who truly hated herself to somebody who was falling in love with herself again, inside 20 minutes. And it was incredible because for me, what happened, and I wouldn't call myself an atheist, but I don't believe in organized religions. But for me, what happened is I took the 5 and I vaped it, and I did a handshake dose. And for me, I'm an extremely sensitive person. So a handshake dose was more like a hug dose for me. Like, it was quite up there. And it shot me. And depending on who I'm talking to, I will say I was shot into the universe, but truly I was shot to heaven. I was shot into heaven, and the creator, God, Mother Earth, the universe, whatever you want to call that entity, wrapped me in a weighted blanket of love and whispered to me that I was love, until I finally yelled it back to them, teaching me that I am love and I need to love me. And then I did 2 more vapes, which were beautiful. And it was just absolutely spectacular. But what I came away from that was the first vape, my first vape ever. I met the creator, and I learned how to love myself for the first time in 44 years.
That's yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It really can turn things around like that. I mean, then we have, like we said, the integration work to do. It's not a magic fix, but yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was taking that into integration and learning to hold on to it. Learning that I truly deserve that feeling, and the fact that I have it recorded, it's just absolutely spectacular. The fact that I can keep going back to it, it helps me to, spice up that integration years later. And then my last 5MEO that I did in Toronto when I just went, the facilitator there recorded everything for me as well. And that's where I found confidence in myself. And I'm working on integrating that, because the confidence is coming and going, but it's never actually been there before. So the fact that it's coming at all is a beautiful thing.
Contraction and expansion. Everything has to come and go. There'd be no flow.
Well said.
So, Nova Scotia Psychedelic Society. If we go back to that, banners, I want to give everybody the chance to take a look. You are about to do a membership drive for the Nova Scotia Psychedelic Society. Am I correct?
Yeah. We're trying to get that first ball rolling into having actual membership, right? We're incorporated under the Society Act. Members is part of that.
Yeah, that's really exciting. So as everything comes up, you can go to this website to see what's happening. At some time in the next little bit, I'm sure there will be an integration circle announced. There usually is once a month. I'm excited for that. I'm keeping an eye out for that one.
Are you member number one? Do you have member number one card already?
No, not at the moment. But
yeah. Oh, we lost you again.
Oh, we lost the volume again.
All right, can you hear me now?
You're back.
Oh, I need like a whole new setup. Look, we jinxed ourselves. We were talking in the beginning that the technical side's working so well. Look at it. So yeah, membership. Basically, right now, what it's just going to look like is a way to get anyone who makes a monthly donation is considered a member, a community member, and then it's going to take a little bit longer. But at some point, we're going to launch something that's called like basically, there'll be a member level where you will get to vote at our annual general meeting. And so we're just building up the infrastructure to have as many people as we can with that. It's just once you start having members start being able to vote on stuff, like I really feel like we've been building a ship the last 7 years, and we're just want to make sure that it's all, going to last or sustain this big push. So membership will look like early notice on different events that we're going to have. Hopefully we're going to have some sort of chat. What I'm really excited about is to hear from you guys what we want. So when the Psychedelic Society was started, it was called the Halifax Psychedelic Society, and it was about basically getting the word out there about psychedelics. But between Michael Pollan's book and now the thing on Netflix, it's like it's 7 years later. Like, people know about psychedelics. What I'm hearing from people at this round of socials is we want to do stuff together. We want to be doing activities around psychedelics. Like, talking is wonderful, but let's do things. So we want to hear from you what you want us to do. And if you're in a position to make a donation, like, this makes me want to vomit, but like, money does make the world go around right now. Like, our biggest barrier is money. I do not make a lot of money, and a huge amount of the reason why this organization moves forward is on volunteer labor. And if we're able to start putting some money behind some of the things that we want to do, that people can donate, and then it can really take off. So please go to the website, join our mailing list, and we want to hear from you what we want to do. We are constrained by doing only legal things, but there's plenty we can do within those boundaries.
Yes, there are. Well, that's kind of exciting. As you put your glasses back on.
I just keep thinking I don't know of any Richmond psychedelic society.
You have the Vancouver there's a British Columbia Psychedelic Society. I mean, like isn't that what they're kind of doing over there with the conference that Andrew and them put on? Wouldn't you consider that like a BC Psychedelic Society?
Richmond's bigger than, like a lot of other places. They could have.
Well, then start a society, Steve. I know a guy here in Nova Scotia that did it. You might be able to get some advice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say, unless you actually want to have a bank account, you can do a lot just with a Facebook group, right? Putting Facebook group and a meetup, putting posts on meetups and other ways
Oh, I hate that. He went quiet again. No, not quiet again.
Pivoting to.
And again. Yeah, we lost you again. I know, right?
Can you hear me now? I
can't. Now. Yes.
Okay, I can't alter my audio source, so I guess we're stuck with this. But what I was just saying is social media, if you just want to keep it people meeting up and doing things, do that route. Pivoting to a nonprofit added 5 years to our journey. Right? But the ultimate goal is we want to provide major services for people. We want to have a membership where we have thousands of dollars in our bank account. Like we've talked about doing an in Halifax harm reduction center. That's one of our long-term goals. It's kind of why we became a nonprofit, is to have a bank account so we can get big enough to do by donation or for free harm reduction center. For anyone who
I would love to bring one of Dana's Get Your Drugs Tested centers down here as well. It goes hand in hand with harm reduction and, like a consumption site, a safe consumption site. I think that they are all needed, and not just in Halifax, but I mean, I think that, to start, Halifax, Sydney, and Yarmouth are these centers should be one in each, and spread across the province eventually. But I agree with you, these are not free services. They are not cheap, and having the equipment and having the know-how and having the knowledge, and for a safe consumption site, having the right people there, it can cost money.
Oh yeah. And for anyone out there who is interested in this, and especially academics, we thought one of the best ways to start this was to do a study on the effects of psychedelics and cannabis on its toll on emergency rooms. Because if we can come at this from a data perspective, saying to the province, we can save you money, and you guys aren't trained to deal with someone on acid, and you don't want to deal with people on acid. I do harm reduction at festivals, and the first aid who trusts us love us, because they don't want to sit there with someone for 8 hours going through an emotional crisis. But that's what we're great at. And right, so academics who want to do studying like that, please contact us or do the research on your own, and then we can go from there.
Yeah.
Oh, is it almost that time?
It's time. This is a really great conversation.
Oh, okay. Hey,
you have to come back and chat with us again, TR, because I've really been enjoying this whole thing. It's been an educational, lively, and full of emotion and vulnerability podcast, and I love it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very, very much. This has been awesome.
I really enjoyed it. I don't know quite what we did, but I think it was really nice. I really appreciate it. Thank you for letting me talk.
Yeah. Awesome. It's that time. We've got to say goodbye. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for joining us, TR. Again, I thought it was absolutely incredible. You shared a lot of valid information, and people that are looking for hope, all they need is a spark. And you dropped a lot of sparks in this podcast. Thank you. Stay tuned for our sponsors, and we'll see you next week. Much love from the Mushie Moment.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.